Prince William and his son Prince George have helped out at a homeless shelter. The pair attended the Passage charity in Westminster in central London.
Prince William was about to get food at a diner when he heard two cashiers whisper something. What he did next changed everything. It all happened during one of the events organized for local charities. Prince William has long been known for supporting charitable causes. Over the years, he has backed many organizations and often shows up at their events, sometimes quietly, sometimes in public. But this one felt different, not only because it was not hosted by the royal household, but because Prince William himself put the event together. He personally invited and hosted members from 3 different charity organizations he has worked with for years. But what happened next was the most shocking part of all. Those close to the planning said the idea came from William himself. He wanted something simple, no long formalities, just people who do the work, sitting together, sharing a meal, and being recognized. The event was meant to say thank you in a very human way. This was not the first time Prince William surprised people with his hands-on approach. Late last year, he attended a Christmas launch for a homelessness charity alongside his eldest son, Prince George. Photos, later, showed both of them serving food to guests. William stood behind the counter, smiling and chatting, while young George carefully handed out plates under his father's watch. The moment felt natural, not staged, and it quickly went viral. Many people said it reminded them of Princess Diana and the way she brought her sons into her charity work. However, this recent event left people even more shocked because Prince William had hosted 3 different charities. The first charity Prince William hosted was Centerpoint, the youth homelessness charity. Centerpoint was founded in 1969 in London by Kenneth Leach and a group of campaigners who were worried about young people sleeping rough with nowhere to go. The charity focuses on helping homeless young people aged 16 to 25. It provides emergency accommodation, hostels, supported flats, and training programs. It also helps young people find jobs and learn life skills so they can live independently. Prince William's relationship with Centerpoint goes back a long way. In September 2005, just a few months after graduating from university, he became the charity's royal patron. It was his very first public patronage. At the time, many saw it as a clear sign of the cause he cared about most. His connection to Centerpoint was deeply personal. He followed in the footsteps of his mother, Princess Diana, who supported the charity throughout the 1990s. Diana did not just lend her name. She visited Centerpoint hostels, spoke directly with homeless young people, and even took William and Harry with her on some visits. Those moments left a strong impression on William, even at a young age. As patron, William did more than attend events. He visited hostels quietly, sometimes without press, and spent time listening to young people's stories. In 2009, he famously spent a night sleeping rough in Blackfriars, London, to better understand what homelessness felt like. That experience stayed with him. Over the years, Centerpoint grew stronger, helped in part by the attention William brought. Today, it supports over 9,000 young people each year. It has built housing projects like Reuben House, which offers 33 affordable flats where rent is capped at 1/3 of income. This simple idea helped many young people move into independent living without fear of falling back into homelessness. Under William's patronage, Centerpoint also launched the Centerpoint Helpline and the Independent Living Program, expanding its reach across the UK. Now, more than 20 years after first being involved, Prince William took things further. He invited Centerpoint staff and young people to the event, not for fundraising, but simply to show appreciation. Some guests later said he moved from table to table, asking how things were going, remembering names, and sharing quiet jokes. For many, it felt unreal. But Centerpoint was just one of the charities invited. The second was The Passage, Homelessness Resource and Support, one of the best-known homelessness charities in the UK. The Passage was founded in 1980 and operates London's largest voluntary sector day centre for people experiencing homelessness. Every day, it provides meals, showers, clothing, health support, and advice on housing and welfare. It also runs accommodation projects such as Passage House with 37 beds, Montfort House with 16 supported flats, and Bentley House, a 20-bed facility. Prince William's connection to the Passage began much earlier than most people realize. In 1993, when he was just 11 years old, he visited the passage with his mother, Princess Diana. That visit exposed him to homelessness in a very direct way. Diana made sure her son saw life beyond palace walls, and this visit became one of the moments that shaped William's outlook. He never forgot it. Years later, in February 2019, Prince William became royal patron of the passage. Since then, he has continued to support the charity, often visiting during Christmas to help serve meals and speak with guests. He has also spoken openly about how that childhood visit influenced his lifelong commitment to ending homelessness. Since its founding, the passage has helped over 130,000 people facing homelessness or housing crisis. Its prevention programs and supported housing have helped thousands move from crisis to stability. It was no surprise, then, that the passage made William's invitation list. The charity also ties closely into his wider homelessness work, especially his Homewards initiative. That brings us to the third charity Prince William hosted, Homewards, Homelessness Prevention and Systems Change. Homewards is the newest of the three. It was founded in 2023 and launched by Prince William through the Royal Foundation. Unlike traditional charities, Homewards focuses on long-term systems change. Its goal is to make homelessness rare, brief, and unrepeated. Homewards is a 5-year program that supports early intervention, housing access, employment, and local solutions. Prince William plays a direct role in the initiative, from its vision to its funding. The program works across 6 flagship locations: Aberdeen, Bournemouth, Christchurch and Poole, Lambeth, Newport, and Sheffield. In each area, Homewards brings together local councils, charities, businesses, and people with lived experience of homelessness to design solutions that actually work on the ground. Each location receives seed funding of up to £500,000 to support new ideas. In its first year alone, Homewards convened over 500 individuals and organizations, laying the groundwork for community-led action plans. Among the 3 charities, Homewards is the most ambitious. It reflects William's belief that homelessness cannot be solved by short-term help alone. It needs cooperation, planning, and long-term thinking. The event itself began earlier that afternoon. By early evening, guests had arrived quietly, many unaware of what to expect. As the evening unfolded, it became clear this was not a typical royal engagement. Prince William was present throughout, listening more than speaking. Several members of the royal family attended to honor the occasion, but the focus stayed firmly on the charities and the people they serve. There were no grand announcements, just conversations, shared stories, and a sense that something meaningful was happening. For those in the room, it felt less like a royal event and more like a gathering of people who truly cared. And that, perhaps, was the most shocking part of all. The guests who honored the event included Princess Catherine, and notably, all 3 of the Wales children were also present: Prince George, Princess Charlotte, and Prince Louis. Their attendance did not go unnoticed. Within the royal family, it has long been a tradition to gradually introduce young royals to public and charitable engagements. The aim has always been to raise them with a sense of duty, respect, and understanding of service. From an early age, they are encouraged to observe, listen, and learn rather than take center stage. This approach is not limited to events organized by Prince William. Across royal ceremonies and charity engagements, young members of the family are often present in quiet roles suited to their age. Sometimes they greet guests, sometimes they sit beside senior royals, and at other times they simply observe. It is seen as part of a smooth transition, preparing them for responsibilities they may one day carry. At this event, the 3 children sat at the same table as their parents. They listened closely as conversations unfolded around them. Each charity organization had its own table, with representatives seated together. This arrangement allowed the focus to remain on the charities and their work, while still keeping the atmosphere warm and connected. Other members of the royal family were also present, adding to the sense that this was an occasion of shared purpose rather than formality. Princess Anne was among those in attendance. Known for being one of the hardest-working members of the royal family, Princess Anne has supported charitable causes for decades. Her involvement in charity work began in her early 20s, and she has remained consistent ever since. Over the years, she has been linked to hundreds of organizations, particularly those focused on homelessness, education, health, and youth development. Her presence at the event felt fitting. Many guests saw it as a quiet show of solidarity, especially given her long-standing commitment to public service. However, there is a member of the royal family among them whose attendance surprised many. It was that of Queen Camilla. It was widely known that Prince William and Camilla had not always shared an easy relationship. Their differences had been discussed publicly for years, and many people associated William's homelessness work closely with the legacy of his mother, Princess Diana. Because of this, Camilla's decision to honor the event raised eyebrows. Some saw it as unexpected, others saw it as meaningful. To many observers, Camilla's presence was viewed as a sign of gradual reconciliation. By attending an event so closely linked to William's personal mission and, by extension, to Diana's memory, it appeared to reflect a growing sense of acceptance and unity within the family. For some, it felt like a quiet acknowledgement of the past, without words or gestures, simply by showing up. As the day progressed, attention turned to the representatives of the charities. Each organization had sent well-known figures from within their leadership, alongside frontline workers who dealt directly with homelessness every day. The first to address the gathering was a senior representative from Centerpoint. She had worked with the charity for over a decade and was known for her advocacy for youth housing reform. She spoke calmly and clearly, thanking Prince William and Princess Catherine for their continued support. She acknowledged the wider royal family for recognizing the work of those often overlooked. She went on to outline Centerpoint's focus for the year ahead. The charity planned to expand its supported housing schemes, particularly for young people transitioning out of care. There was also a renewed push toward employment training, with partnerships being formed with local businesses to offer paid apprenticeships. The goal, she explained, was not just to provide shelter, but to give young people stability and confidence. As she spoke, several guests nodded in agreement, familiar with the challenges she described. After a brief pause, a representative from the passage stood next. He was a long-serving member of the organization and had previously experienced homelessness himself. His presence alone carried weight. He began by expressing gratitude for the continued attention the charity received, especially during the winter months when demand was at its highest. He spoke about the passage's plans to strengthen its prevention programs. The focus for the coming year was early intervention, helping people before they reached crisis point. This included expanding outreach services, increasing mental health support, and working more closely with local councils to prevent evictions. He also mentioned plans to improve accommodation facilities, ensuring that residents felt safe and supported during their stay. His speech was steady and grounded, reflecting the charity's practical approach. By the time he finished, the room felt attentive and thoughtful. The final representative spoke on behalf of Homewards. As one of the newest initiatives, there was strong interest in what lay ahead. The speaker explained that the coming year would focus on turning planning into action. Across the 6 flagship locations, local coalitions were preparing to roll out pilot projects aimed at long-term change. These included new housing access models, employment pathways for people at risk of homelessness, and stronger data sharing between services. The emphasis, he explained, was on learning what worked and scaling it nationally. The ambition was clear, but so was the caution. Systems change, he reminded the room, took time, patience, and cooperation. When the final speaker sat down, there was a brief moment of silence. Then attention shifted toward Prince William. Many guests had been waiting for this moment. The unusual nature of the gathering had already sparked curiosity, and there was a quiet eagerness to understand why he had brought everyone together in this way. Prince William stood and addressed the room with a calm presence. He acknowledged that many people were surprised by the invitation and the format of the event. He made it clear that the meeting was intentional. The year ahead, he explained, would be demanding for homelessness charities, and he wanted to begin it differently. He spoke about the importance of collaboration, noting that no single organization could solve homelessness alone. He emphasized the value of sharing ideas, learning from challenges, and supporting one another. He also spoke about visibility, how simply showing the public what was being done could inspire wider support and understanding. Prince William highlighted a few priorities for the year. Strengthening early prevention efforts was one. Supporting frontline workers was another. He also stressed the need to keep young people at the center of decision-making, especially those with lived experience. Throughout his remarks, he avoided grand language. Instead, he focused on practical goals and steady progress. His tone suggested determination rather than ceremony. As he concluded, the atmosphere in the room felt settled and purposeful. What had begun as a quiet dinner had become something more, a moment of alignment among people who shared a common goal. By the time Prince William finished speaking, it was already a few minutes past 4 p.m. The room remained quiet, as if no one wanted to break the moment too quickly. He paused briefly, then turned slightly toward Princess Catherine, gently signaling to see if she wished to add anything to the discussion. She responded with a small shake of her head, content to let the moment stand as it was. Just as it seemed the event was drawing to a close, another unexpected turn followed. One of the charity representatives raised a hand, signaling a desire to speak again. It was the representative from Centerpoint, a familiar face to many in the room. He was acknowledged and invited to address the gathering. Once more, the room settled into silence as he stood. There was a noticeable shift in the atmosphere, as if those present sensed that something unusual was about to happen. What he said next left both Prince William and Princess Catherine visibly surprised. Unbeknown to the royal hosts, the representatives of the charities had held a quiet discussion earlier that day. They had agreed among themselves that this gathering should not end without a gesture of their own. This moment, the representative explained, was the result of that shared decision. He began by thanking Prince William, Princess Catherine, and the wider royal family for their continued support. He spoke about how the backing they received went far beyond funding or appearances. It helped raise awareness, open doors, and reminded the public that homelessness was an issue that deserved attention and action. Then came the surprise. The representative revealed that the charities had arranged a dinner in Prince William's honor that same evening. It was not intended as repayment, nor as a formal recognition. Rather, it was meant as a simple way of saying thank you. A quiet gesture, planned with care to show appreciation for years of standing beside them. The proposal caught the room off guard. For a brief moment, Prince William appeared speechless. It was widely understood that royals rarely attended unofficial events, especially ones organized on such short notice. Appearances were usually planned weeks or months in advance, guided by protocol and security considerations. Yet Prince William had often shown a willingness to balance tradition with a more modern approach. It was one of the reasons many people admired him. He leaned slightly toward Princess Catherine, exchanging a few quiet words with her. Observers nearby believed they were discussing the unexpected invitation and its implications. The pause that followed felt longer than usual, filled with anticipation. Then Prince William stood once more. He made it clear that the invitation had come as a surprise. Still, in the spirit of the togetherness that had defined the afternoon, he decided to accept. The timing, he acknowledged, was sudden, but the intention behind it mattered. In keeping with the purpose of the gathering, he agreed to honor the dinner. The reaction was immediate. The charity representative looked visibly relieved and delighted. Others in the room shared smiles and quiet nods. Soon after, the formal part of the event concluded. As arrangements were made, representatives from the charities departed first. Prince William and Princess Catherine followed shortly after, leaving discreetly. They were driven away in a royal vehicle, with no attempt to draw public attention. Events like this were rare, and discretion remained important. They arrived at the venue a little past 5:15 p.m. The dinner was held at a modest private function space within a well-known commercial hospitality venue, the kind often used for small receptions and charity gatherings. The room had been carefully prepared. Tables were set neatly and catering staff stood ready. Everything had clearly been arranged with thought and effort. Seeing the setup, Prince William reportedly reflected on how much work had gone into the evening. He turned to Princess Catherine and quietly remarked on how different things might have been had he declined the invitation. She responded with a warm smile, suggesting it was good he chose to attend. Their schedules were often full, and they could not accept every invitation. But moments like this helped show appreciation and brought the monarchy closer to the people. Public opinion seemed to support that view. Recent polls across the UK had consistently placed Prince William and Princess Catherine among the most favored members of the royal family. Many believed it was due to their approachable manner, their focus on real issues, and their efforts to bridge the gap between tradition and modern life. The dinner itself unfolded smoothly. It was a self-service arrangement, with guests moving toward the buffet area where the food was laid out. Despite polite insistence from the organizers that he should remain seated, Prince William declined. He chose instead to queue alongside everyone else collecting his own meal. Princess Catherine followed his lead without hesitation. Their ease in the setting stood out. It was one of the rare moments where they could mingle freely, exchanging brief conversations and smiles without ceremony. For the charities involved, it was a powerful reminder that their work was seen and valued. As the evening progressed, an unexpected moment began to unfold. It was a moment no one in the room had anticipated. By the time Prince William reached the buffet area, the room had settled into an easy rhythm. Plates clinked softly, cutlery moved, and low conversations filled the space. When his turn came, he studied the options briefly and chose fish and chips, a familiar and unshowy choice that matched the mood of the evening. The servers, a married couple who had worked the event many times before, froze for a moment when they realized who stood in front of them. Surprise spread quickly across their faces. It was not every day that the heir to the throne queued for supper like any other guest. They greeted him with visible excitement, their smiles wide and genuine. Prince William returned the greeting without hesitation, acknowledging them with warmth and patience. There was a brief exchange, the kind that carried the quiet thrill of meeting someone long known only through screens and headlines. For the couple, the moment carried that familiar mix of disbelief and pride, the sense that an ordinary working evening had suddenly turned into something they would talk about for years. They served him carefully, still half-stunned, and stepped back as he collected his plate. Princess Catherine followed just behind, carrying her own meal. As Prince William turned to leave the serving area, his attention caught on a low conversation nearby. Two women sat a short distance away, both wearing staff badges and clearly working as cashiers for the evening. They were speaking quickly, unaware of who had passed within earshot. Prince William heard only fragments. One voice carried the weight of strain, mentioning the loss of a place to stay. The other spoke of charities and temporary help, of finding a solution until money could be saved. He didn't stop. He didn't turn or look back. He walked on beside Princess Catherine, his expression unchanged. She noticed, however, a slight shift in his focus, a pause that did not quite fit the calm of the moment. They returned to their seats and began to eat, the evening continuing around them as planned. After a while, Princess Catherine glanced at him again. Something in his manner lingered. She leaned closer, quietly attentive, and asked if anything had unsettled him while they were getting their food. Prince William then shared what he had overheard, careful to explain that it was only part of a story. He had not caught names or details, only the sense that one of the women was struggling with accommodation and had nowhere safe to go. At that point, nothing was certain. It was possible he had misunderstood. Still, the concern stayed with him. Princess Catherine listened, and after a moment, suggested that they should speak to the women before the evening ended. If someone needed help, it was better to be sure. Discreetly, one of the event attendants was asked to locate the two staff members and invite them over. When the women approached, they were confused at first. Neither had realized that Prince William and Princess Catherine were present at the event. The request alone was enough to leave them unsettled. By the time they reached the table, both looked stunned. They introduced themselves quietly. One gave her name as Elizabeth. The other, standing slightly behind her, said she was Sarah. Prince William spoke first, asking if everything was all right with them. There was no mention of what he had heard. The question was simple and open. Both women hesitated. Elizabeth glanced at Sarah, unsure how to respond. It was Princess Catherine who eased the moment, encouraging them to speak freely and assuring them that they were not in trouble. The tension softened. Elizabeth then explained that the issue was not hers, but her colleagues'. She gestured gently towards Sarah. Sarah took a breath and began to speak. She explained that she had lost her previous job months earlier and had only recently secured this new role. During that period, she had fallen behind on rent and was asked to leave her accommodation. Since then, she had been staying temporarily with friends, moving between places, with no stable option ahead. The strain of it showed in her careful words and lowered gaze. When she finished, the table fell quiet. Prince William responded calmly, reassuring her that help could be arranged. He signaled to a representative from Centerpoint, the homelessness charities seated nearby. The representative recognized the signal at once and came over without delay. Introductions were made. Prince William explained that Sarah was in urgent need of accommodation and asked that she be supported as quickly as possible. The representative listened closely, greeted Sarah with kindness, and exchanged contact details with her. It was made clear that the situation should be addressed as early as the following day. Relief washed over Sarah's face. Gratitude followed, expressed again and again, her composure giving way to emotion. Elizabeth stood beside her, equally moved, hands clasped tightly as she watched the moment unfold. The event continued not long after, drawing gradually to a close. Guests departed, conversations ended, and the hall returned to stillness. Prince William did not seek updates that night. He trusted the charity and the people who worked within it, confident they would act. The following day, Centerpoint contacted Sarah. Arrangements were made, and she was provided with temporary accommodation, giving her space to stabilize and plan her next steps. She was also encouraged to share information about the charity with others who might be facing similar hardship, so support could reach further than one case alone. Prince William never asked for confirmation. For him, the act was complete the moment the right people were connected. He knew the work would be done. Do you think Sarah would have gotten help if Prince William had intervened? Share your thoughts in the comments below. Don't forget to like and subscribe to our channel. Also, click on the next video on your screen. You won't want to miss it.